Hey, what's up, family? Today I want to speak about upholding the standard. And I feel like this is a great discussion that's greatly needed in our community because we have become so complacent, so content, so comfortable in the standard being set so low to where basically there is no longer a standard. There is no longer a bar. There is no longer a status quo that we're teaching our offspring and our brothers and sisters to reach, that we're encouraging them to aspire to get to. We've become content in um, basically not having a standard. See, we want to think ourselves wise, and many, they say they don't want a yoke upon their neck. They have the mentality, many of those who are lawless, they have the mentality where they're not going to be told what to do, how to do it, or how to live their lives, even if it's decreed by the divine word of the Almighty God, whose word has not failed, whose word has proven itself time and time again to be true, whose prophecies have become fulfilled over and over again. So they say no. See, that's a spirit of rebellion. See, they only fool themselves. They say to themselves, I have no yoke upon my neck. There is no leash on me. I will not be tamed. I cannot be tamed. And I refuse to be tamed by any man, and especially any so-called God. This is what they scoff at. This is what they boast of. Not even realize that because they refuse to take upon the yoke of Christ, which is light. His burden is light. It's a light burden. Because they refuse to take upon his yoke, they don't even realize they already have accepted the yoke of Satan around their neck. And let me tell you something about Satan's leash that I know of very well. Satan's leash, it's extremely heavy. It's extremely burdensome. Extremely. And ultimately, the leash of Satan always leaves those who have it around their necks to destruction. Always leads them to destruction. So it's time for us to start raising the bar. I got this good friend of mine. He was telling me the other day, he was like, yeah, PJ, I make music and whatnot. I know he makes music and whatnot. He said, I make music, but sometimes I use a lot of profanity in my music though. And I said, nah, bro, you shouldn't use profanity in your music. Try not to. He said, you're right, man. I shouldn't use profanity. I guess I use it in a way so the people can relate to me. No. If you got to stoop down and participate in their sinful and wicked deeds in order to be embraced, in order to be heard, that is not where you need to be. You need to be around those who seek to climb up the mountaintop. Not who seek to find a comfortable place in the valley where they can spend the rest of the days of their lives at in content, not feeling there is no call upon their lives, not feeling that there is a great commission that the Lord, the Messiah, has given all those who claim to believe on him. We have to get to a point where more of us stand up and uphold the banner. Uphold the standard. I'm not saying we got to beat people up about the standard, but let's speak on the standard, because let me tell you something about these devils in this world. These who are the enemies of the Most High God. They don't know when to quit. They continue to push their agendas further and further and further, pushing them in our faces, trying to force them down our throats. But then soon as we who believe in the Most High God come with some scriptures, then we the bad guy. No. I say the same energy, the same effort Satan and his children are putting into his agenda, we as the children of the Most High God ought to be putting just as much effort and energy, actually more so. We ought to be putting more energy and effort and passion into the work our God is to commission us to do. Point blank. See, Christ came down in the flesh of man, okay? He came in the flesh of man. Christ could identify with us. He could identify with our temptations. He could identify with our suffering and so on and so forth. But yet, he was tempted in all things such as we are tempted in. But yet, he was without sin. So yes, God came down to our level, but he never participated in our sinful ways. That's why the Apostle Paul said, to the Jews I became as a Jew. To the Jews I presented myself as a Jew because Paul is a Jew. And to the Gentiles, I came as a Gentile. But I did not participate in the sinful things they do. So never forget that part. He did not participate in the sinful things they do. And that is not something we ought to be doing. Now, if it's something that we're battling with in our own lives where it's a sin we're battling with, that's something we need to be praying about. We need to be fasting about. We need to keep asking the Most High to straighten up in our lives, to get our house in order concerning that thing. But it's not for us to see other people battling with certain sins and say, well, in order to put the word in them, to plant a seed in them, I'm going to dwell in that same sin. It's one thing if you already battling with that same sin that they're battling with, and then y'all come together on one accord and y'all try to encourage one another to overcome that thing. But never allow yourself to be a tool of enablement. Don't enable them. Encourage them to turn away. We have to start raising the standard again, family. And I know many of Satan's children, they hate the idea of even a standard. Rules. Who are you to make rules? So be it. But at the end of the day, every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess. It's best you do it now, rather than you wait till it's too late and then the fire from heaven is already upon your head. And you're weeping and wailing, praying that you could turn back the hands of time. Now, don't sugarcoat, don't water it down. And let me tell y'all something, family. It's a reason I add, concerning social media, it's a reason I add majority of men as my friends. Because it starts with the head. And I look to speak out and to speak life into my fellow brethren who have not come into their glory yet, who have not come into their calling yet, who have not came into the realization of who they are and how important they are. So it's important that to me, it is very important that I reach out to the brethren, because it starts at the top. It starts at the head. See, commands are given from above, and it trickles down below. Even in the natural, the brain gives all the commands, and then my arm follows, or my toe wiggles. You understand? So just that same way, the command came down from the Father to Christ. The command came down from Christ to the man. And then the command came down from the man to the woman. Man is the head of woman. Christ is the head of man. And the Father is the head of Christ. There's an order. Because we serve a God of order. We don't serve a God of confusion. We don't serve a God of chaos. That is who Satan is. Okay? Many people are playing it by ear. They proclaim themselves to be their own prophets and their own gods, and they make up their own rules and their own playbook, and they go by it. They go by that playbook. Not even realizing they failed before they'd even stepped foot onto the field. This is why I speak with the strength I speak with and the boldness I speak with that God has granted me. If you want gentleness, if you want more, how could I say, you want more of a nurturing feel, that is the other side of the coin. That is my wife. We are one flesh together. All the things my wife lack in, God has granted me with. All the things I lack in, God has granted my wife with. Point blank. So, family, I say all that to say this. Stop lowering the bar. Stop promoting rappers who are not raising the bar, who are still speaking the same evil, the same murder, the same self-hatred, the same drug usage, the same profanity, the same whoremongering, the same killer Negro this, killer Negro that, all that foolishness, all that stupidity, all that coonery. The reason the children of Satan have ran rampant for so long because the true soldiers of God refuse to stand, and enough is enough. More of us need to be standing, and that is why Christ told us to pray for more laborers, because our God knows that we need more laborers. But regardless of how few laborers there are, it's not going to stop his work. It's not going to stop his judgment. Remember, only a remnant will be saved. The majority of us will be lost. The majority of us will refuse. The majority of us will not answer the call, but will continue to harden our hearts because we love the ways of this world, and we love sinful things, and we love to defy God. That's not going to cut it. But if you had a made up mind that me and others like me who give glory to the Most High God are just a bunch of Looney Tunes and we're just talking a bunch of rubbish and we're the ones to see, so be it. Continue to live out your life and enjoy the remainder of your short life, because trust me, an extra 30 years is nothing. I'm already at the 30-year mark, and it has gone by like this. It was just like yesterday. I remember when I was 9 years old. Just like yesterday, I remember when I was 7 years old, when I was in elementary school. This life is like a vapor in the wind. It's here one minute and it's gone the next.